Welcome to the 205th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron Vantile, joined by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz and Chronicle star photographer Cody Kristen.
Ooh, what's that mean for Ridley?
When did I become a star photographer?
We're just happy to have you back. Yeah, nice guest spot you're making here on the podcast. Now that you've
Happy to be here.
exited yourself from the roster for 3 weeks in a row.
You know, in my hiatus, my suspension, I a couple comments from people from the public and numerous places just talking about how much they missed me on the podcast. So
Really?
yeah, I was glad to see that the community really cares to have me on here.
How is your mother doing, by the way? I'm assuming she's the one that said she missed you on the podcast.
I don't think my mother listens to the podcast. My father,
fair enough.
avid fan. Shout out, Paul.
Good. We're also joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding, Shayla's Outfitters, and the Roof Doctor. We got some preambles.
Oh, good.
First off, last week, Schwartz and I were discussing whether or not you can just shoot fish in the water.
Yes.
Listener Brett writes in, I grew up in a small town in Alaska, later famous for hosting a large oil spill. And I'd like to note here, I like his terminology for hosting a large oil spill, like you're hosting a Super Bowl party. And when people went halibut fishing, they'd have a pistol on board. If you tried to haul a very large halibut aboard without killing it before you get it aboard, it will flop around violently. Flop around, that sounds like something we were talking about off mic.
It does.
And can cause a lot of damage. As a lad, I saw both the shootings, you catch it and bring it to the surface first, and the result of a failure to shoot until after the thrashing began. The shooting was the preferred choice among the experienced folks. So yeah, you know what? You should take a gun fishing.
That's not according to the Chronicle. That's according to Aaron Vantile, independent contractor for the Chronicle.
Be careful, though, if they catch you. I've got a story about shooting fish, actually. My dad told me the story one time. One of his friends got caught shooting at a fish in high school. I won't name him, but he got put in the paper in the Daily World as a fish molester for fish molestation because he got caught by a game warden.
Well,
So there you go. You can't shoot fish.
So you can. I mean, you pay a fine, and then you're forever known as a fish molester. But yeah,
the fine doesn't sound so bad.
It's the fish molesting. My goodness.
So everyone calls him a fish molester for the rest of his life, I guess.
Oh, man.
I won't name him, but he's a great guy.
It sounds like it.
Unless you're a fish.
Yeah.
All right, we got some more Cody content here. Swiss Heritage was celebrated at Oktoberfest in Francis. Mm-hmm. Cody was there taking photos, and was that all you were taking?
What do you mean taking?
Taking any sips?
No, of course not.
The Oktoberfest traditional drinks?
I was bowling. I didn't do very good. I competed. I know I turned in photos and videos of the Steinholding contest, but I actually competed in that as well.
Oh, really?
I was just one of the first four out.
Who won that? Ryan Deskins?
Ryan Deskins, and then Kathy, I think was the name of the one who
It's
won
on
the
Cronline.
women's. Yeah, it's on Cronline. That's always a fun tradition they do over there.
Your video was fantastic of Deskins bringing it home at the end when it was just him and the one other guy. Just so much joy and just whooping and hollering and chugging.
His victory shouts, yeah.
Chugging beer with the other hand.
I just didn't want to be the first guy out. And you notice, like, in the pictures and in the videos, the last two guys, it's always the big, sturdy guys that last the longest in that competition in the Steinholding because you got to hold it straight out and, like, you know, all those
leaning back either.
Nope, all those gym muscles, they're just for show when it comes to that. You got to have real strength.
Are you going
my friends learned that the hard way.
Are you going to the gym now and just doing like
I'm just holding out a dumbbell.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm training for next year. I'll be back.
Hell yeah.
My uncle won it the first year, so it's kind of a family legacy. I need to bring it back home.
You got to bulk up a little bit.
I do, for sure.
What, Schwartz, you got any other preambles? Do you want to ask Cody about any of his adventures today?
Cody had a special assignment to head out to a undisclosed location to fly Cron Air out over a cornfield because we were told there was a message in the cornfield. What was the message once you saw this, Cody?
Do you want the intended message or the message as it read?
The message as it read.
The message as it read was a failed attempt to write Trump 24 in cursive.
I see.
There were not enough under loops where the U should be, and there was just one line in between the R and the M, so it would look like an I. So it read to me Trump 24.
Well, that settles it. I'm writing in Trump 24 in my ballot.
Yes, Trump 24 for president, guys.
That will say only it was a local pumpkin patch.
Local patch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They have yet to decide if they wish to be in the Cron or not.
Not that necessarily determines, but we haven't been able to talk about it yet. So
true.
It's a little intrigue for the podcast.
See.
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah. Check your newspaper.
Yeah, buy paper.
That one out at hunting though looks really good. You did that? You were out at that one. How much
that was
bigger is the one at the hunting pumpkin patch than the other one?
The corn maze?
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger, and it's a lot more intricate. The one I was at today was just kind of like one path through a bunch of corn. This one was like an actual maze. And that one was political, too. They had it's kind of hard to tell, but if you look closely, there's an elephant and a donkey and an arrow in between that points to both, and it says 2024 for like the election year.
Huh.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And then there's it randomly says heaven in one corner.
Yeah, I
and
saw
there's like
that.
a smiley face. It's like kind of,
They really just
yeah.
got
Looks
after
like
it.
someone just started doodling on a page and they're like, put this in my corn. And they're like, all right.
Yeah, that one was cool.
It is
That
cool.
must
though,
be
yeah.
so difficult to like carve something in corn like that.
I don't know if they carve it or if they grow it like that. I feel like it'd be a lot easier to just plant the shape and then let the corn grow up.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know though. I'm not a corn enthusiast like that.
Not a cornsman.
You'd think of the three of us, it'd be me, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, one more preamble. Congratulations to Luke Kilgore, one-time guest host of this show.
Yeah, recurring guest there for a while. Good third chair. He is happily married. We attended his ceremony Saturday night. Lovely ceremony.
Nightcrawler was there, another former co-host.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
A lot of. It was definitely a people you may know party.
Yeah, it really was. A good mixture there.
Yeah, good show. Congrats, Kilgore and Jana as well. News? You guys ready for the news? Do you talk
do it.
about the news here?
Let's do it.
First
starting
up.
with a hard hitter.
Yeah, Lewis County PUD celebrates Public Power Week. It runs through Friday, and the PUD noted that its employees often face hazardous and challenging conditions. I only added this because the photo accompanying this brief was a PUD office I'd never before seen in my life. And I had to look at the picture and get a close look and then read the cut line. It was like, it's in Morton. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's
That's why
two
I haven't seen it.
offices. There's one in Chehalis, which is located in the former Chronicle Chehalis Bureau.
Is it really?
That's what I was told. Diane Dory used to work there. Fun fact.
We had a Chehalis bureau.
We did.
Yeah.
Since when did that
Oh,
go
it's
to
been
business?
a long time. Probably in the 90s.
1930.
Before my
80s or,
time.
80s or 90s.
30.
80s or 90s probably.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Ridley shot that as a file photo. I've never used it before, so I figured I'd throw it on there. I'm glad it confused you.
Yeah, it did. I
It was
like,
meant
what
to catch the eye and make you appreciate public power.
What the hell is this? Next item, a legend of Wild Man of the Waunch becomes a musical. The story of John Torno takes on an even bigger life with the premiere of a musical playing at the Key City Theater in Port Townsend. The production is based on the legend with a fictionalized approach to the events of 1911 to 1913. The actual John Torno took to the woods of the Eastern Olympic Peninsula as a fugitive for 19 months following the death of his twin nephews, killed in a fog during a search for a bear.
Potentially.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. The musical portrays only one nephew, among some other changes necessary for the plot and staging. A man who wanted only to be left alone, Torno evaded captors while the search itself captured sensational newspaper stories nationwide. It ended in a shootout north of Montesano and west of Matlock in what is now Grays Harbor County. The musical tells the story of Torno, his sister, and a land-hungry brother, a sympathetic sheriff, and bloodthirsty journalists spreading news or disinformation. Create the conflict. The passion comes from a fictional love interest reminiscent of a Shakespearean tragedy. You know what? I'm just going to say it. John Torno got a bad rap.
I agree.
Is he the hero in this play? Is he the?
He just wanted to
Is
be
he the
left
pro-
alone.
Is he
He
the
wanted to be
protagonist?
left alone.
Didn't he just kill his nephews or something?
Well, maybe his nephew shouldn't have been dicking around in the fog with a wild bear on
That's
the
why I
loose.
said maybe, because according so the News Tribune at the same time it has another story on the wild man of the Waunch that is now at cronline.com as well if anyone wants to read it. And it goes in depth. And apparently the sister was the only member of his family that he liked. And his brothers had him placed in a sanatorium, basically an asylum.
Yeah.
He got out of there and was hiding out in the woods. And the sister sent the nephews to go find him, and they ended up dead and buried. And they think it was a bear. There was no witnesses, so
How old were the nephews? They
I'm not
sent
sure.
out there.
It just says their nephews. And then basically anyone that went out there to try to get him for those deaths also was murdered until finally there's like a shootout. One guy makes it back, but he fired a shot off. And when they get a bigger group and come back, and the story does say that journalists were members of the posses that they were
that's just-
whipping together.
Were the journalists armed or?
It says they were members of the posse, so I believe so. And they got out there, and it turned out one of the bullets the guy had shot hit him, and he was dead there with his rifle on his chest. So they did what anyone would do and propped him up against a tree and took photos.
That's kind of
You
rude.
can see right here.
One day I'll get a scoop like that.
That's him in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Ever since I first read about it, it was like the dude just wanted to live alone in the woods, it sounded like.
Well, they just kept hassling him. It's kind of like it's very much like a Rambo story, the original Rambo.
It is.
Yeah,
and
pretty
it
much.
sounds like he was really good at killing. Like,
Yeah.
because it was quite a few people, and he was never convicted of anything because they could never get him out of the woods until he was dead.
Is this what Rambo's based on?
No, it's not.
Are you positive?
It could be a
Rambo
more
is
modern
set in
version.
like Washington.
Rambo's in Washington, I think, or Oregon.
I watched it and I was like, this is Morton, pretty close.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole section of the News Tribune story that is just in the press about the various newspapers. For a while there, accusing like any missing person or dead person was John Torno. Like he did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like from
Jeez.
Tacoma to
Yeah.
the Bald Hills area over at Thurston. Like it was anywhere in this area. If you were murdered, it was Torno.
He was just the boogeyman.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
I'm actually going to be in Port Townsend next weekend. I might go see it.
The play?
Yeah.
Oh, the play. I thought you meant like
John Torno?
Yeah, like the
Just go
body
out
or
in the
something.
woods.
Our story on the play that's in today's edition was written by Sandra Crowell, author of A Land Called Lewis, the
Oh,
definitive
really?
history of Lewis County.
All right. All right. Next item. Search continues for woman last seen at her Peel McDonald Road home on October 3rd. Do we have any did they find her? Anything
There
new?
hasn't been any announcements released. There was intense search efforts over the weekend. She was last seen on Thursday, like you said, at her residence, so they don't know exactly when she left. The thought was that she had gone out into the forest, I guess is something that she does to forage for mushrooms, berries, that kind of thing. But there's been no evidence turned up as of our last report and from the sheriff's office, which was last night.
I tried to head out there on PM McDonald Road yesterday and find some of the search efforts, but I couldn't find anything from the road. They might
Right.
they might have been back in the woods though.
I don't know I don't know if the house is back in the woods or what, but yeah, unsuccessful. Should have sent up the drone.
That would have been smart actually. I probably should have done that.
The forest, says Trump 2010. No, I'm just joking. I don't want to make light of this. Yeah, so hopefully they find her. Longer time goes on, you have to wonder, but there's a lot of residents, law enforcement, and search and rescue folks out there for several days.
All right. Next item, 35th Girls Night Out event is success in downtown Centralia. And whoever is arranging stories on the website, you can't run a missing woman story next to a Girls Night Out story.
Yeah.
That's just kind of a jolt when you're looking at the old slider. Was that a stretch? That was a stretch, wasn't it?
Not funny, Aaron.
I
All
mean,
right.
you're just trying to derive joy out of others' agony as usual.
Girls Night Out? How dare you?
Girls Night Out was a great success.
Yeah, Girls Night Out was awesome,
It
man.
was the 35th Girls Night Out. Emily went and did a nice full story. Usually we'll do a couple photos or something like that. And she was able to talk to the founders and organizers of it. Let's see the names. One of them was Flossie Heyman, and the other was Sandy Walchick. I think that's how you say it.
You don't see a lot of flossies anymore.
No, you don't. You don't. She's the former owner or current owner still of Heyman Winery, which used to be downtown. She moved out, but she wanted to keep doing Girls Night Out.
Cool.
And they raised money for Hope Alliance, which is a good cause.
What would happen on Boys Night Out?
That's a good question. It sounds like probably a bar crawl comes to mind.
Just
I think that's your fantasy football meeting, Aaron.
that's a good point. Not a lot of ladies attending those.
I mean, what else would you suggest?
I don't know. I was just wondering what that would look like. You just walk from one gun store to the other, and
Oh yeah, you could get the gun stores in there. Well, I'm just interested in what you consider masculine.
Gun store crawl.
Gun store crawl.
Go
I
shoot
guess.
guns down at the gun range down the street. You have to go to Shales Outfitters.
Yeah, be a long crawl. Well, it'd just be, I guess, not a crawl, just
No.
getting around. All right, next item. Judge delivers maximum sentence to 3 men convicted for defacing the friendship fence in Chehalis. Hot take. Good. These are the guys that got together to go vandalize someone's fence because it was painted like a rainbow. One guy drove all the way from Idaho to do this crime. There's no debate what message these lowlifes were trying to send. And anyone who's ever whined about freedom or liberty or, quote, trying that in a small town that doesn't like this needs to reevaluate their life choices. Anyway, they got 364 days in jail. Nice work, Judge Andrew Toynbee. They will have a full year to reconsider their stance on men who prefer the company of men whilst being confined in a cell block with nothing but men. And there were way too many people in the comments on this story standing up for these idiot white supremacist bigots. Thoughts?
No, I don't. I don't disagree with you. I do think it's different than how other cases might be treated, and if that's the argument, because I know his defense attorney, which you hardly ever see, was in the comments really speaking out against the sentence in this case.
Yeah.
Just looking at directly what the charge is. If you look for that charge everywhere else in the Lewis County Superior Court system and see what the sentencing is, it isn't a year in jail. I think they were asking for home confinement, ankle bracelet type thing, or something like that. So that's an argument that you could make, but on the folks that are like supportive of it and critical of the judge, I've heard a lot of people, including myself, make the argument that the judges here in Lewis County are very harsh on sentencing in most cases, in a lot of cases. And I don't know that the legal system's supposed to work this way, but it's a bit of a deterrent. And I think now that white nationals know that you come here and do this, there's a good chance you get caught, for one. And for two, you end up in jail for a year rather than like a slap on the wrist. That works the same as a Superior Court judge who, put the downtown gang shooter in 2007 in jail for 98 years.
I was just thinking about that.
We didn't have another one.
We didn't have a lot of people, jumping into the comments on that. The thing that stands out to me about it is this. Yeah, they got the absolute highest end of the sentence. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't the case of vandalism where you've got a couple drunk frat boys with a can of spray paint, drawing a dick on something. This wasn't any kind of an accident that resulted in harm to somebody else. This was, these guys got together to try to send a message that, having a friendship fence is not something they stand for. And, they got together to specifically do a crime to try to threaten and make people feel unsafe based on nothing more than the way they're living their lives. And these are, they had their white supremacist literature in the car with their painting supplies when they got caught doing this.
Yeah.
So, I don't see anybody that's standing up being like, well, it's a little harsh. It's like, what's harsh is them pulling this shit and thinking that this is a place where it's safe to do that kind of shit. And especially to make that argument against this sentencing in a community which rallied and sped down to the goddamn Hamilton sign because some online rumor started that Antifa was going to spray paint it, is just rings a little bit, untrue to me.
I don't disagree with you, Aaron. I was on another program this week. I kind of make the rounds. And there was a caller that was kind of with the commenters in that this is a little harsh. You need to apply the law evenly, take your emotion out of it. But he kept referring to these guys as kids, and I just would like to remind people this is a 33-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 40-year-old, and one of them has 6 kids. In you're out at midnight, 1 a.m, spray painting a rainbow fence in Chehalis.
All of their brains fully developed.
I'm sad for the kids; they lose their dad for a year. But on the other hand, maybe I'm not sad for the kids. They lose their dad a year. This isn't the type of activity that, I would be just ashamed. They're not kids at all, though.
No, they're not.
I thought it was interesting that some people, maybe they didn't read the story or they forget, but you just automatically assume this is the type of stuff kids do. These are grown men.
Yeah, this was not a childish prank.
No.
This wasn't spray painting the rock outside the high school you don't like.
I don't think so, no. So again, I'm not defending them at all. I see the arguments of the people that are apply the law evenly, but I think there's a lot to back up Judge Toynbee's decision as well.
Yeah, my favorite comment was someone upset in the comments and asking why no one was arrested for the riots after the George Floyd murder or Chaz up in Seattle. And I almost got into the comments to link to a history.org story listing off the 44 people who were arrested as a result of Chaz in Seattle. Everybody just forgets that.
Yeah, but let's not pretend that there wasn't a blind eye being turned, or maybe not a blind eye, like a helpless eye, just because of the level of, there was a lot that people got away with. There was a lot more people committing crimes than 40 people. That was a wild time, man. Remember, the flash mobs just running into stores and stealing stuff to protest?
Yeah, and a lot of those people did get arrested.
It still happens.
People were just
did. I'm not saying
people were also just getting plucked off the street and arrested during those times.
I started out for protest,
they were
but now
overwhelmed.
They realize they can just do that, and now it's just a thing. I think.
Yeah, that whole period just feels like a fever dream, man. Remember when they poured cement in front of the precincts, exit, so the cars couldn't get out?
Yeah.
Do you remember when a guy died because the police they weren't allowed or they wouldn't go into Chaz? It was just crazy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting in the member berries now.
Again, 44 people were arrested.
There was a lot more. There was thousands.
It was really the end of time.
It felt like it. Look at us now. Everything's stable.
Yeah, what the hell? What the hell happened?
No, I'm not adjudicating whether or not things were wild. I'm just saying anytime people are like, well, nobody was arrested for that. Yes, they were.
Do you think I lived to be 19 back then?
No, I did. The
didn't.
best thing I could equate those years to is that, sorry, this is specific, that South Park episode where they're doing the Civil War reenactment and they just keep getting drunker and drunker and then they start really
the
taking
root beer
towns
shops.
over and then they're like hungover months later.
Yeah.
It's just like, what happened?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, yeah, good riddance to those guys. Enjoy your time in lockup. Next story. Washington State researchers to use drones to survey seals and sea lions. I didn't read the story, and I don't think I have to. But drones to, quote, survey sea lions, huh? Just keeping an eye on things, are we?
I forgot. Are you?
Some fisherman's going to slip into the control room one day and go, be a real shame if we accidentally set the armed drones out today.
I was
wouldn't it be?
I was just gonna say that.
One step away from state-sponsored drone strikes on the sea lion
Damn it,
colonies.
he beat me to it. Dang it.
I don't think that's what's happening here, but I do like the theory. I do like the theory.
That's not what's happening so far. Anyway, any other news stories you want to hit them at the end?
We'll hit them at the end.
All right, let's take a break.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met Jacek of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. It's time for segments, and first up is going to be Tales from the Takes page, which I have not previewed. Anything good going on, or is it the usual?
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, usually
As if
it's
there's
like-
not always something good going on the
There's
opinion page?
there's like a column from McCroskey that's like, I just watched Newsmax for 3 days straight. I've got some falsehoods to peddle
That's
you.
not
And then there's
true.
John Braun, and it's like, you'll never believe what the Democrats have done to make me, a rich man, nervous.
Your takes are terrible. John Braun's column is quite popular.
Oh, what's it called?
What do you mean? What's it called?
What's it about?
No, I mean his column.
Oh,
his
okay.
ongoing Saturday edition column that we've been doing here for several months now.
What's this edition?
Also unpopular at the same time, which is a defining piece of a good opinion piece.
You're not going to tell me. You're going to make me look it up myself, aren't you?
Read some letter headlines. Joe Kent is the same bad candidate who lost to Glusenkamp Perez in 2022.
John Braun, approve I-2124 to get a pay raise while ending the government's monopoly on long-term care coverage.
Yeah, hey, the Seattle Times endorsed that initiative today or yesterday. I
Yeah,
don't remember.
people aren't sold on...
No, it's not a great.
Law
It
cares.
wasn't a great law, in my humble opinion.
Uh-huh.
We also have. Okay, we're gonna play Guess Who This Is About.
Oh, boy.
Letter to the editor: a local politician worthy of our respect.
Nothing's coming to mind. Pass.
Joseph.
Who? Joe Kent? No. Nope.
He's not a local... Is
It's
he a politician?
Lewis
Damian
County.
Bean.
It's Lewis County Commissioner Lindsay Pollock for this letter writer.
Oh, sure. Yeah, she's okay.
We've got another letter writer who says it is up to us to stand up and save this state.
From becoming Florida or what?
No one can save Florida. Here's an interesting one. We had a letter writer that thinks Commissioner's Memorial, this is Commissioner Stamper's viewpoint out there off Rife Lake, should honor all COVID-19 victims and be a COVID-19 memorial since he did die of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. We have a rare and very short letter to the editor from a local athlete who just said, community support of WF West football appreciated.
That's nice.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. After you insulted everything here.
I was insulting the columns, not the letter writers.
Got a letter from Bo Rupert.
Oh, boy.
Paul Strophe, an ideal candidate for Superior Court judge. He does not have an opponent. But if there was a write-in campaign, this letter could come in handy.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else notable on there?
Lewis County will be blessed if Swope is reelected.
Disagree. So what is he going to do if reelected? Just continue loading our taxpayers into a giant cannon and firing it off anytime he sees a pronoun?
Woman smears veteran who served 11 combat duties. They debated last night. I haven't seen any coverage of it yet.
Right. It's not your job.
It wasn't local. We went to the Longview one last week. I think this one was. I mean, it was. I think it was down in Portland.
He
So I
tried,
guess
to
we
get,
should
he
have
tried
gone
to get me
it.
to go to Portland. I said no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not true. You would have gone. You're on record in the last hour of saying I will do anything for the Chronicle.
Yeah, don't bring up what I said before that.
Oh, F word? Do I have to?
No, that's not.
This all relates to the
That's
cornfield.
That's false. That's not true.
Cody goes to Portland and comes back with a meal expense receipt from Miss Sally's.
Comes back from Portland.
What?
He's got a bunch of piercings and green hair.
Gauges in my ear. God, they got me.
All right. Anything else?
No, I mean there is, but you've already cut down, spoke in a derogatory fashion about our opinion page. So, what would help it is if we had a. No, this isn't a. I'm not segueing. I was going to say a little power rankings from the great Aaron Van Tile.
Too old. I don't have time for that.
That's too bad. What if you had a sponsor? What if you made money off of it in addition to your rate?
What local business would want to sponsor Power Rankings?
I don't know. There's got to be one.
Power rankings of what?
I wouldn't want to be sponsored by
Everything.
anybody, by any local business willing to stoop low enough to sponsor a column by me.
Aaron wrote one of the finest columns we've ever published here for quite some time, and then he just quit, started podcasting. He's
was
the
it
Bill
Power Rankings?
Simmons of.
What was
of
the column
Chronicle.
about?
It was just local news, and it was when I was sports editor. I wrote a column for the news side for the opinion page, just on, it was kind of like this. I just made jokes about local stuff.
Nonsensical listing of the week. They weren't even always rankings. Sometimes it was just
They were after the
your
first
opinion.
episode. They were never rankings.
Oh no, I've brought it up before, but you peaked with the the dramatic tale of the wolf that got shot in Eastern Washington, wandering into a bar. Classic.
Yeah, I had some fun takes back then. Did I tell you I had a guy called me at my real job, which we won't discuss now, but got the number and called and saw my name on something and was like, asked a question about my real job. And I was like, by the way, I always subscribed to the Chronicle. Loved your old column. Why don't you do that anymore?
Oh yeah, why not? See,
I don't know.
the people want it. The demand is there.
It's a guy out in Alaska. And I was like, well, have you listened to the podcast? And he's like, I don't know what that is.
See,
Nice guy.
you're missing your core demographic.
Anyway.
Columns is the podcast for the older generation.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Letters to the editors. What's that for the?
It's long form Facebook comments.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
500 words or less.
I was thinking today about how great Twitter used to be and like what if it would come back, but it was just like old school original Twitter. Like there was no photos, there was no videos, there was no it was just you got 140 characters and that's it. God, what a time
days.
to be alive.
I never really took to the Twitter.
It was peak Twitter in 2012 was just chef's kiss. It's just a beautiful place.
Old people always like the old times.
Yeah, I know.
It's always better.
I miss
Always
Facebook
better way back when.
when it was just open to university students.
When I
At
would
certain universities, not all.
back then, I would cover high school sporting events, and people would come up and be like, "You're the guy from Twitter." I was like, "Well, I work for the Chronicle." They're like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, that's true.
Good old days. Anyway,
How's
if
your
you-
roof?
working on a segue to that. If your roof is under the weather, visit our friends at the Roof Doctor.
If you missed the old days when your roof wasn't leaking.
If you want to sit under your porch, out on your porch, under a beautiful, clean roof, and just reminisce about the old days when your roof wasn't leaking, good take, Cody. You're way ahead of me on that one.
Yeah. You dragged it on too long.
Yeah. Call 360-736-0246 and talk to the experts at the Roof Doctor who will give you a free estimate.
If you want to send out a 2012 tweet about how great your roof is, you call the damn Roof Doctor.
Do we have where's the sad button over there?
I'll guess. No. Shit.
Insult to injury over here. Anyway,
I'll
you're
stop.
so bad at this.
We got to label them.
No, they've
I don't
colored.
feel like we say enough. We stress too much the roof, that they also do decks, railing, siding, windows, doors, and remodels.
It's a full service, outfit.
They do so much you can't fit it in a
The roof
2012
must
tweet.
be just
No,
like
you
the
couldn't. You would
specialty.
need several tweets.
Yeah, double,
and not
triple
just
tweet.
like adding on to each other either. Just like you'd have to crank them out there all in a row.
Yeah.
Old glory days.
Crash the app.
Yeah.
SC in Olympia says, Keith and his crew were wonderful communicators, did really great work, and left the place immaculate. I'd highly recommend them if you want quality work done.
SC at Olympia.
And what about MH in Olympia? She can't say enough positive things about their outstanding work and exceptional skill.
Wow.
They worked every minute they were there except for a brief lunch break.
Good.
They cleaned up everything, the yard, driveway. It was just great. And then we have the JB and Shay list that I'm back to now that you insist is John Braun.
What did he say?
The crew were quick, thorough, and cleaned up well. The steps done during the roofing went above and beyond requirements, including hand nailing the shingles. It's a big thing for me. I don't want you bringing a nail gun. I want them hammered
all
in
done by hand
with the strength of the human arm.
Much
It holds better.
It's much more difficult. It does hold better though.
Yeah, all right. It's
worth
you guys
it.
say so. All right. Next up, we've got People's Champion of the Week. And I have the story back at the game. Thurston County tourism promoter has successful kidney transplant. It's George Sharp, our friend.
Oh, yes. Dear friend, George Sharp.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, he had his transplant, what was it, about a month ago? Or 2 months ago? And he's doing well. He's back to working full-time, which wouldn't surprise anyone that knows George Sharp. If you don't know George Sharp, he's like a lifetime tourism guy. He's worked all around the state. He worked for the state. He's currently with the Thurston County EDC. And not only did he get a new kidney that is working out very well for him, but he was also honored with the 2024 Patrick Knutson Tourism Legend Award recently.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. We're going to see him again next weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend, the 19th, for the Boo Coda casket races.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he runs that show out there, in addition to a lot of the small town tourism stuff.
Yeah, he was our contact for the Tenino Parade this year.
Yeah, he does that. He's involved in just about everything. He got his shirts too, which I thought was nice. But there will be a Chronicle sponsored award that will be handed out at this year.
That's a nice change.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Guess we're gonna have to accept our own award.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, we gotta start training for that.
We won it last year in a tie, as I've said numerous times. But this year, I don't know. Sheriff Sanders is in it, so I'm not worried about Commissioner Wayne Fournier. We already laid waste to him last year.
Sheriff Sanders is going to push it himself and win.
Do you think he's gonna? They got those
gonna be a
new
one-man team.
grappling bumpers that they're installing tonight, partially up in Thurston County. There you can like ram a car and disable it, basically lock it in. I don't know how it works at all.
It's just gonna taste.
I originally thought the grappling bumpers were like a net that they were going to shoot out and grab the car. That's not what it is.
Are they
They're
just
not like Batman
no.
stuff.
Is it like big lobster claws on the front
I don't know.
of the
The
car?
bumper's like extended out in below the regular bumper and has like a spike on the end in the very center. So I
that
don't
is
know
Batman
what that
shit. That's
spike
awesome.
does. But what if he has that on his casket? We could be in trouble.
Totally
Yeah.
something you'd find on the Batmobile.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
All right, next item, Sirens Banger of the Week. I've got Sirens, a man tries to sleep at dumpster. I didn't read it, but just leave people alone. Like, damn, this guy's already sleeping in a dumpster, and you got to come along and make his life worse?
You know, I don't.
Yeah, that shouldn't be illegal.
I don't disagree with that. I don't know the individual circumstances there, but yeah, I don't disagree with it.
Yeah.
The Sirens Not Banger of the Week, what would we call that? The Sirens Bummer of the Week is there's downtown Centralia burglaries the other day, and Pioneer West announced this afternoon they're moving to the Centralia outlets.
Really?
Yeah, they've been in that spot on North Tower forever. And
Yeah, they
they've
have
gone.
been.
I think they got hit. I think the Cluttered Closet also got hit. Cash was taken in both instances. I don't know. This doesn't help the resurgence of North Tower.
No, it doesn't. There is a new bar going in down there.
There is. Yeah,
Apparently.
that'll help things.
Yeah.
We're going to have coverage on that, too, eventually. I don't think it'll be in the next edition.
All right. Do you want to talk about Shayla's Outfitters?
Do I?
You always do.
They are still in the midst of their fall hunting sale. Modern Firearm General Deer Season is October 12th to the 31st.
Oh, you going out this year?
Nah. I'm not opposed
You're more
to
of an
hunting,
antique
but,
firearm.
more of like a pumpkin cannon kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
But their sale runs through October 16th. It has many of the deals we discussed last week, including 25% off all camo from Kings and World Famous Sports. Great deal. You can get 20% off all Blaze Orange and Orange camo. You got to have that to be able to go out and hunt. Isn't there one day you can wear pink or something? I think they approved that as a law.
I'm
Breast cancer
not sure.
so long ago. Some great deal on all
Key
rifle
jeans,
ammo.
only $26.95.
I'm still talking about guns over here.
All right.
All rifle slings, 20% off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just lots of those jeans. Yeah, very nice jeans. $26.95. You can't beat that.
Cowboy boots, $140. Oh, $99. Cowboy boots with an American flag on them.
They got a good sale on the original A Jerky Gun Junior.
$27, buddy. You can get the meat injector.
Oh boy,
27.
$26.95. And of course, 10% off all in-stock handgun ammo.
great deal. Big deals on guns there.
So visit Shayla's Outfitters over.
And remember,
You know where it is.
if you're not going to use your gun for hunting season, fishing
season's coming up. Yeah.
Again, illegal.
Yeah.
Don't molest fish.
All right. Do you want to do Facebook comments of the week or the news roundup?
Let's just do the news roundup real quick. Let me pull up the old Cron line. We had a lot of not good news. A lot of it's quite negative actually on Cron line today.
A lot of crime.
So I tried. We didn't talk about there was a prayer vigil held for Roman Wagner, son of Dr. Peter Wagner and Abby Wagner. That was on Sunday at Back Memorial Park in Adna. Mm-hmm. Is that right in town? I know Adna doesn't have an in-town necessarily, but
it's just down Dykeman from, you just go past the Adna store and hang a right. It's down there.
Gotcha.
It's right in town.
We have unclaimed remains of a veteran are going to be transported from Lewis County to the National Cemetery pretty soon. That's an initiative by the Lewis County Coroner's Office. Last year, I believe they had 4 people that they took up there and gave full military honor funeral to, which is cool. Did you see that 7-vehicle crash in Thurston County last week?
I think so.
was
I
pretty
saw
gnarly.
something. Was that Wednesday?
I think so. Yeah, it was Wednesday. There was a crash in front of it that we didn't really get details on, a 2-vehicle crash that didn't cause any injuries, and then just a big pileup, it sounded like.
Yeah, everything was shut down.
But the Tenino man who was airlifted to Harborview after that is facing a long recovery. There is a crowdfunding campaign live now. He is a Lewis County Corrections officer who lives out in Tenino. I'm trying to pull his name up here, sorry. Newt Larson is the name, 61 of Tenino. So go check that out. They had raised about $11,000. They had a goal of about $20,000. Very severe injuries, not good. And if we did circle back to Hero of the Week, I would have entered as a nominee. We had yesterday Centralia Police intervene after citizen reports elderly woman being scammed out of thousands of dollars. A elderly woman was feeding money into a Bitcoin ATM, which I didn't know we even had around here. And she was on the phone with a guy who had a foreign accent who was telling her he needed the $25,000. She had already put $4,000 in. This citizen called police who showed up and were able to make sure she gets all of her money back. And she did not lose her $25,000. So good on that citizen for doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have done the same. I'd like to think I would have, but it's inconvenient.
You would have asked the woman for $50,000. I've seen you on the phone.
Schwartz was the guy on the phone with the lady.
It was the Onalaska Apple Harvest Festival over the weekend. How was it, Cody?
It was good time, really good turnout. I was actually pretty surprised how many people were there. The
They
entire
come out for
parade
that,
route, entire parade route was stacked with people on both sides. Lots of vendors. It's a good time.
A rising star on the festival scene since
Have
they've
they?
arrived. Yeah, they get a little better every year. It seems like grows a little bit. Shout out to the Onalaska Alliance.
They've usually got the football team will run a cider press too. Like you
I
bring
saw
your
that in the
apples, they'll make
preview.
cider for
I
you.
didn't make it. I think I got there too late. I think that was before the parade, and I just got there for the parade.
Yeah, I talked to
I
Maz
saw-
out there last year.
Yeah, I saw that you bring your own apples, and the football team will turn them into cider for you. That's pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, they don't even have a press actually. They just squeeze them together.
just put them on the
Is there
ground.
like a
and-
specially priced where it's Maz that does it for you?
Yeah, I think it's free actually. I'm not sure.
No, yeah,
I
it's
can't
free.
remember how
they
it
do
works.
it for free. They just put them on the ground and run 31 trap over top of them.
Yeah.
Squish them down. But and I got to see the ladies from the Shoestring Valley Church selling their pies that we did the preview for. That was
good.
really nice. They told me that they moved a lot of pies, and they actually had a clipping of our article from the print edition of the Chronicle that was laminated and pasted for everyone to see on display at the front of their booth. I thought that was pretty cool to see my photo on there with their story.
Why didn't
is
you get
cool.
a picture of that?
I took a picture with my phone.
Oh, well, you should file it.
A picture of our picture on the article.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of my proudest moments is I did a story on the Hub My article was up there forever, and I was so proud to just walk into the hub. So I get it. The pie stand probably filled you
Oh
with
yeah,
pride.
every time I go into JJ's to go, my photos are right there on the wall.
I've got Psalm Siri. At least I did last time I was in there.
What a shame. Mine
you
are only
got
hanging
any?
at the Brooklyn Tavern.
Do you have? Oh, you have one at the Brooklyn Tavern.
Yeah.
Well, that trumps everything.
Yeah, that's
I don't. I
so much cooler.
I have no rebuttal. That's all.
Facebook comments of the week. On a story about the wandering monk speaking at the Center for Positive Living in Centralia, this commenter writes, "This is exactly how you start a cult."
Oh, come on.
And buddy, look, I saw the picture and start a cult?
Come on. I've always wanted to pop in on the Center of Positive Living. That's down there on South Pearl Street off of right by the viaduct.
What do you think the vibes are?
I think they're positive.
Positive.
Extremely positive.
I'd go out on a limb and guess that.
Positive and live.
He's just walking in there, get out of here, dickhead.
They always have interesting speakers and stuff. I think it's cool.
On a story about Semi-Bird breaking campaign finance laws or something, this commenter says, "I wish Bird good luck with ending the corrupted mail-in ballot racket in a one-party blue state. I don't know if you saw how the primaries turned out, friend, but it's not looking good."
For Semi?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. That was a story by our own former Eric Roseanne, or he's still Eric Roseanne, former Chronicle reporter Eric Roseanne. He's been all over that Semi-Bird beat.
Yeah. On a story about the new owners of Fuller's, Harnick and Ginny Dudois, this commenter says, "I know Darius. Does his daughter and son-in-law own it now?" And somebody replied, "Yep. His son and daughter are now both Indian."
Oh, come on.
Which I don't know why. I just got a kick out of that. It was the ultimate read the goddamn story comment.
There's a lot of people that just don't do that.
Yeah.
On the Economic Alliance of Lewis County, bringing in an expert to talk about the economic outlook, this commenter says, "Entirely predictable. We've gone from not happening to it's happening and it's a good thing. The next and final phase is being against inflation is white supremacy." And then the next commenter says, "Obviously a woke/radical professor, shaking my head. Typical Richard DeBolt, bringing in those woke socialists to talk ESG and DEI with his globalist buddies."
Everyone knows Richard's a bit of a lib. I kind of knew that when I read the story. I was like, this isn't going to play well in some corners, and these are some corners.
Yeah.
It always finds those corners.
Anyway, we've gone over what's in the next edition. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Don't think so.
Cody, do you want to get the word out on nominees for Game of the Week? Do you remember who they are?
I think this week WF West plays Battleground at home. That's one of the options. I'm blanking on the other ones. I can pull it up.
Nah,
In the interim, I just want to note
Give me
that
3 seconds.
our very own Chronicle assistant editor, Emily Fitzgerald, has a play that she is directing at the Evergreen Playhouse.
Oh, she's directing?
She is the director of this. It starts on Friday. I had her write up her own news release for it today, and I'm going to work on that later. But yeah, Arsenic and Lace runs Friday, October 11th through Sunday, October 27th. Performances at 7:30 on Fridays and Saturdays and 2 p.m. on Sundays. Tickets are $17 for adults, $14 for students. You should go. Emily is a delightful person.
When is it played this Saturday?
It starts Friday.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll go see it Saturday.
Emily's on to bigger and better things.
So I think the
You can
games
see it
are
from here.
Is it Battleground at WF West, Aberdeen at Centralia, and Kings at Rochester?
I believe that's right.
Black Hills at Tumwater and
That's
Kings
one
at
of them?
Rochester. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think these are great.
The games of the week selections.
I don't think they're great options, but now looking at the list, yeah, that's probably
That's the best of the options we
There's
had
no
for this week.
key local versus local games really. Toledo
it's-
Rainier, I guess, but
I think it's 2 weeks from now. There's just a whole list of bangers.
I will say, if I forget to tell the sports guys, if it comes down to a not covering WF West at home, find a way to cover WF West at home. And they always do, but I want to see this Black Hills Tumwater game on the front page. No
Yeah.
offense.
that's that is Friday.
We just got to play to the heart of the coverage area,
It's
you
gonna
know?
be brutal. I get to shoot Oakville North River on Thursday night.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, that'll be exciting. Yeah.
I saw
Oakville, North
Centralia,
River?
Aberdeen got moved to Saturday
Yeah. Saturday at 5.
due to a lack of officials.
All out of officials again. I guess that's still a problem.
Yeah, seemingly so.
Zach and Cody are covering that Sound Christian Oakville game. That'll be fun.
I'm excited.
We're sending a 3-man team to the Oakville football game?
No.
Cody and Zach.
Oh, okay. I was going to be delighted by that.
I liked it in the notes section of the master schedule. Anytime somebody plays it with Kayakum, the note just says tough place to play.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, it is a tough place to play.
Yeah, people forget that. In closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding, Shameless Outfitters, and the Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcast if you like, or send us an email at chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com.